This is the Insight Engine. Over the next 10 minutes, we are processing 50 high-density questions designed to test your understanding of the subcontinent's development through visual evidence. Questions 1 and 2. 10,000 years ago, the Pleistocene Ice Age ended. Identify the climatic force that raised global temperatures and ended the glacial period, allowing early humans to enter the Holocene, the current epoch of environmental stability. Analyze these paintings at Beenbedka. For questions 3 and 4, identify the technological adaptation seen here. The shift to a warmer climate led to the creation of microliths, small, specialized stone tools, which enabled the more precise hunting and early domestication depicted on these walls. Question 5. Locate the site of Mehrgarh. This region provides the earliest evidence of the Neolithic Revolution in India, where humans moved from foraging to the deliberate cultivation of wheat and barley as early as 7000 BCE. The transition to agriculture and the miniaturization of stone tools provided a new economic baseline. These were survival adaptations required by a warming planet that made permanent settlements viable for the first time. Questions 6 to 8. Examine the masonry of the Great Bath. Note the use of standardized burnt bricks and waterproof bitumen mortar. These cities followed a strict grid system where every street intersected at a 90-degree angle, indicating a high degree of centralized municipal planning. Look at the trefoil pattern on this statue's robe. Questions 9 and 10. In the absence of monumental temples or royal tombs, researchers suggest Harappan authority rested not with a theocracy, but with an oligarchy, a small group of powerful merchants who controlled the city's resources. Questions 11 and 12. This is a steatite seal. Harappan trade functioned without metallic currency, relying on a system of standardized weights and these seals to verify the contents of goods traded across the Arabian Sea to Mesopotamia. Moving on to questions 13 and 14. Analyze the decline of these cities around 1900 BCE. Geological evidence shows shifting tectonic plates altered river courses, causing the Saraswati to dry up, while erratic monsoon patterns disrupted the grain surplus required to sustain urban life. This evidence suggests the civilization succumbed to environmental pressures. Tectonic movement and changing rainfall patterns effectively ended the urban phase of the Indus Valley before any foreign migration occurred. Questions 15 to 17. This map connects the Bogaz Koy inscription in Turkey to the Sapta Sindhu region of India. Both regions record the names of the same deities, Indra and Varuna, marking a shared cultural and linguistic ancestry for the Vedic peoples. Questions 18 to 20. Trace the Vedic political hierarchy. Power flowed from the individual family unit, the kul, to the village, or grama, then to the clan-based vish, and finally to the tribe, known as the jana. Questions 21 and 22. Define the Sabha and Samiti. These were tribal councils that advised the king. Note the transition into the later Vedic period, when women were barred from these assemblies and the councils lost their egalitarian function. Questions 23 and 24. Trace the evolution of Bali. Originally a voluntary gift given to a tribal chief, it became a mandatory, structured tax as the Vedic tribes settled into permanent agricultural territories. By 600 BCE, the transition to a stratified agricultural society was complete. This new social rigidity and the dominance of ritual sacrifice led directly to the intellectual descent found in the Upanishads. Questions 25 to 27. Compare these philosophies.
Buddhism sought the middle path between indulgence and asceticism. Jainism introduced anekantavada, the principle that truth is multifaceted, which required an absolute commitment to nonviolence in all interactions. Questions 28 and 29. Analyze this relief. Early Buddhist art was iconic, meaning it did not represent the Buddha in human form. Instead, the empty throne and the wheel symbolized his presence and the start of his teachings. A rapid matrix for questions 30 to 33. You must match the 4 Buddhist councils to their patrons. Identify the role of King Ashoka in the 3rd council and King Kanishka in the 4th, which solidified the split into the Theravada and Mahayana sects. Questions 34 to 38. The widespread use of iron tools allowed for the clearing of the Gangetic forests, fueling the rise of the 16 Mahajanapadas, large territorial states like Magath that replaced smaller nomadic tribal units. These Sramana, or seeker movements, provided the ethical framework for this urban shift. By rejecting animal sacrifice, they preserved cattle as vital agricultural capital, while their emphasis on nonviolence stabilized the routes used by the growing merchant class. Questions 39 and 40. Contrast these records. Megasthenes describes a sophisticated urban administration in Pataliputra, while the Sogaura inscription details the state's management of public granaries, specifically reserved for famine relief. Questions 41 to 43. After the Kalinga War, Ashoka used the symbolism of these four lions to project the authority of Dhamma. This was a policy of ethical conquest, where the state used moral instruction rather than military force to maintain order. Look at the abacus below the lions. The carved wheel, or chakra, represents the Chakravartin, the ideal of a universal ruler who turns the wheel of law across a unified territory. Question 44. Analyze the architecture of the Sanchi Stupa. Its massive hemispherical dome and detailed stone gateways served as permanent imperial markers, communicating Mauryan presence and Buddhist principles to the public. The Mauryan period demonstrated that the subcontinent could be organized through a centralized moral bureaucracy. This infrastructure allowed for the management of diverse populations through codified laws rather than local tribal customs. Questions 45 and 46. This silver coin from the Indo-Greek era shows the impact of foreign contact. These rulers introduced realistic royal portraits and bilingual strips to Indian currency, marking a major shift in how kings projected their image. Question 47. Examine the Gandhara style of this Buddha statue. Note the Greek-influenced drapery and the realistic musculature, a result of cultural exchange along the trade routes controlled by the Kushan Empire. Questions 48 and 49. This Gupta gold coin marks a return to indigenous control. The Guptas established a gold standard and a decentralized administrative model that fueled a period of significant economic and cultural growth. Question 50. The murals at Ajanta represent the high point of Gupta-era artistry. These works use sophisticated shading to depict Buddhist narratives, reflecting a society where the university at Nalanda was simultaneously producing major advancements in mathematics and astronomy. The history of the subcontinent reveals a sequence of technological shifts, internal philosophical debates, and the constant integration of global trade. Tally your scores and review the visual evidence to determine which eras of ancient India require further study.